While we're all waiting for Erica Synths to bring the Perkins out, I thought I'd share my views on the LXR02. It's a fabulous little drum machine. It sounds absolutely marvellous, and there has been a recent update, the version 1.2 firmware, so it's slightly different than all the reviews you might have seen before. I'm not going to do a full walkthrough, there's plenty out there already. But let's start off by just taking a quick listen to what it sounds like. The most important part of the update, I think, is the fact that we can now edit the sounds when we're in performance mode. So if we look here, we're on voice mode and you have access to all the parameters. Go to performance mode, they've gone, but now we can magically bring them back just by pressing them. Listening to the kick drum. I know it sounds weird, but you just couldn't do that before, and lots of people have mentioned it. Go back into performance mode, we can now use those buttons as mutes as we did before. So everything still works like it did, but if you want to edit the sounds, it's really simple. As I say, just hit any of these and we're in voice edit mode. We've also got flams and micro timing. If we go into this snare sound, go to the voice, got it in these two steps here. Going to edit this step, we can put a flam on. So that's up to 8 repeats on the one step. Although I have to say, I'd prefer if that sort of flam was a little bit closer, and luckily we've got micro timing as well. So if I go into the micro timing on this, I can just offset that by 1. The micro timing splits the step into 8. So I've got this one here on +7 and this one on +1. So one's very late, but just before the beat, and one's just after the beat. So quite a nice little flam. Another little update is the ping pong delay. So there we've got a stereo ping pong delay. If we go into the effects page, we can see we're on delay. And then you've got normal or ping pong. And one thing that I didn't realise at first, and I thought it wasn't working, is that you've got to offset the sound itself in its mix page. So if we go into the sound itself, we can see I've got that panned at -63. If I pan that at 0, it's no longer stereo, and I did think there was a problem with it, but yeah, just be aware of that. And the other main update is that they've improved the MIDI recording. It's a little bit more accurate. So now if you play something just before the beat, it'll be pulled to the next beat. It won't be pulled to the previous step. And that's why I've got the keyboard out. I'll just delete that. Shift clear, clear track, yes. Okay, let's play that bass in. And that's 2 bars long, so we'll change the final step to step 32. It's page 2. Step 32, okay. Press record. So that's pretty simple, and the final update is that there are more options on the pulses per beat for the clock in and clock out. But the other thing I wanted to show was just how nice it sounds and how easy it is to get decent sounds out of it. So really nice bass sound. If we take a look at the envelopes, let's go into voice mode, envelope. It's quite a simple envelope. It's attack and decay. It is made for drum sounds after all, so you can't hold anything on. But you do have really fine control over the slope, so the slope can go from logarithmic to exponential to anywhere in between. But it really does just feel like you're playing a synth. Let's play with the FM on that. Let's just play the pattern actually. Really nice, isn't it? But the other reason I got the Arturia out here was to show you that it can all be controlled via MIDI. And not that that's amazing by itself, but we've got access to pretty much all the parameters via MIDI. Most of them are CC, some are NRPN, but all the major ones are CC. And that means that if you've got a controller, you can do all sorts of things without going into this and sort of trying to get through the menus on it. Really good. And if you've seen demos of this before, you'll know I'm playing with the decimator. The decimator is in the performance page. Here we go, it's the sample rate reduction, so that's this one here. So that's a performance parameter, but I'm able to access it via MIDI without having to go particularly into the performance page. I can just do it all on the one thing. So if you've got a controller with lots of different knobs on, you can control lots of different things at the same time. Should we take a look at a kick now? This isn't pretty far from the initial patch. Actually, should we load an initial one up? So load kit. Let's load an initial one. So if we play that now, there's our initial kick. Performance mode. Press oscillator, we're now editing in performance mode. So the starting point's really nice as it is, isn't it? And we can go really tough. Rec is a rectangle. I had to look that up. These are wavetable oscillators actually, which is why when you turn the noise down, it gets really bitty. PWM doesn't sound because we've got it on 0. Let's put it back on something sensible. Should we put it back on a sine or a triangle? So we can add a click to that, and these clicks, we've got 13 little samples in there. Let's take a listen. If we go back to the oscillator, turn the pulse width down to 0 so that we're not hearing any of the oscillators at all, just a click. And we can tune these. These are really useful for those little transients. And they're the sort of thing you can't really get from an analog modeling synth, which is what this is effectively. Let's bring the kick back in. Let's put the little kick click on. Bring the oscillator back in. Just nice. Everything I do sounds nice. Maybe add a little bit of modulation out of the frequency. Add in a little bit of body. Maybe let's just reduce the actual decay there. Some FM. Basically, if you can't get a kick out of this that you like, you're doing something wrong. Let's play with the clicks again. So kicks are really nice. We can get really nice FM tones that you heard with that bass sound. Let's try hi-hats. There's a few more FM options on this, which is what you'd expect. Again, just loads and loads of different tones in here. The only difference you get on the open hat and the closed hat is the decay time. Obviously. Let's add a bit more FM, make it a bit more metallic. And then maybe a click. Let's put the hat click on. This one turns it a little bit more 909-y, but not really a 909 in any way. But it does mean you can get those 12-bit sample style sounds at least. So I'm a massive fan of this. It does everything I wanted the Dave Smith Tempest to do. Not that the Dave Smith Tempest can't do the things I wanted it to do, but this does it for a third of the price. We've got 6 voices in there and 4 outputs, but we've got some effects. You know, we've got all those sort of gain stages. Look at other reviews of it and other demos of it if you want to see exactly what's happening there. Or ask me, and I might do another demo on it. But basically, here's my Tempest, and this was £1,500 thereabout, and I got this so that I could tweak sounds on the fly. I wasn't reliant on samples. I could have a little play with things, and I could move stuff around in a mix as it's playing live. And this is brilliant for it. But actually, the LXR, if I didn't have the Tempest, that's fulfilling the role the Tempest was. I mean, the Tempest is analog and this is digital, but all in all, you know, I would be satisfied with this over that, to be honest. I know that sounds a bit weird, but it's really impressed me that much. The Tempest absolutely dwarfs the LXR. Overall, the Tempest is really a more sort of luxury instrument, I suppose. You've got these really nice pads on it. As I say, I really like the LXR. The only things that niggle me about it are the fact that I'm never quite sure what I've saved. I save a pattern or I save a kit. Do I save the kit, then the pattern? Do I save the kit, the pattern, then the project? I was trying to change the shuffle on this for a whole project, and every time I saved the pattern, it didn't revert back to the same shuffle. So just not quite sure what was happening with the shuffle, if it's saved with the pattern, if it's saved with the kit, or if you've got to save the kit, then the pattern, or if you've got to save the pattern, then the kit, then the project. I think you've got to have loaded the kit into the pattern before you save the pattern again, because once you save the pattern, after you've loaded the new kit in, it will save that with the pattern. So when you change pattern, it changes to the kit that you saved it with. But if you edit a kit and then you save the pattern, it'll load the kit that you edited, not the new edited version of the kit, if that makes any sense to anyone. It sort of does to me now. But as I say, I've just seemed to save everything rather than just saying, look, in the project, I'll save the project and the pattern and the kit in different orders, and still sometimes I get it wrong. So that's my only nickel with it. It doesn't really bother me that much, but one day I will figure it out fully, perhaps. Well, I hope that was of some use to somebody somewhere, and if it was, please think about subscribing, ring the bell, and maybe join me over on my Patreon page. I've actually got a few hundred samples, I think, from the LXR, maybe about 800 from this thing, actually. So if you want to get those samples, head over to my Patreon page, and also you're really helping to support the channel. I buy stuff, I sell stuff, and I lose money every time. So it's really handy, it's really nice, and it's nice to know that you're supported and that people appreciate what you do. So I will see you next time.